Now, back in the studio, big canvas, can't wait to get started on that one. But before I do, just going to get the old cork gun here and start putting the paint on the palette. Yellow ochre now. Plenty of that stuff in this painting, she's a big one. Going to need buckets of that stuff. Look at that. Absolutely fantastic. If you want to paint big and chunky, this is the way to do it. Buy it in big tins. That way you can thrash the paint around. And if you put too much on the palette, well, you can easily put it back in the tin if you haven't messed up the colours and it's nice and clean still. All right. All right, well, I've just got a few lines so I know what I'm doing, where to put things. Now I'll go for the darkest darks. All right, let's go for alizarin crimson. That's a beautiful dark. And maybe some viridian green with that. That always makes a good dark. You could go a bit of phthalo blue. That really darkens it up too. Okay, now there's going to be some beautiful dark rocks just here. I'll go a little bit more phthalo blue. Beautiful dark rocks right here. We can put as much dark as we want in, and then what we'll do later, if it's too much dark, just easily go over it. It's easier to put the darks in first, and then put the lights in and put it on top. You can put the lights on first and put the darks over it, and I may do a little bit of that towards the end, but for now it's all about just getting the darkest darks on. Okay, a bit more alizarin crimson. Viridian green. We'll go just here, try and keep out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. There's some beautiful dark rock there. Maybe just a little bit of a one here. Let me just see if I've got the balance right. Okay, that's not bad. Now because there's a salt haze, there's a beautiful salt haze on the day I'm painting. Went down the other day and just got inspired. Anyway, there was a great sunny day with salt haze, so things are going to recede fairly quickly. So that headland won't have pure darks in it now, it'll be slightly lighter value. So what I'll do is, I'll just get a bit of white, burnt sienna, magenta, blue, anything like that can make it dark. As long as you've got the opposite side of the colour wheels and you throw them together, you're going to get a dark. Now if I get a bit of magenta with that, that'll give a lovely kind of purpley blue colour. Let's see if that's a lighter. It's still, we can go a little bit lighter than that. Okay, let's just put some of that on now. Beautiful day down the coast. Get those darks in. Quick, smart. Okay, that can go about there. Maybe a bit of white and a little bit of blue on the edge. That's what's going to happen here. Just lighten that value. A bit more magenta and blue. Just going to get a little bit of pale blue on the edge here as it kicks around the edge of the headland there. Alright, go for some of these darks. Let's put the rocks in. Some foreground, middle ground black rock just here. Like so. A little bit kicking around here. Yeah. Alright, let's have a look. That's good, it's dropped back now. I'll go back another layer. Got a beautiful island out here and a nice little headland jutting out there. So we'll go a little bit lighter with that. Go for some blue, some magenta. A little bit of that out here. Now I'm putting the darkest darks in, like I said. With that island I'm going to end up putting some more light over the top of that, but let's just get that in for now, like that. Okay, now a little bit more white, a little bit more blue. There's one more headland just a bit further off, just down here. I'll just stick that in nice and light like that. Alright, now I've got all the basic darkest darks in. What I'll do now is start getting that white covered as quickly as I can. And I'll start with the sky first and then probably do in here, we'll see how we go. Get it as covered as quickly as you can so then you can relate to each tonal value. It's harder to relate to the different values when there's big chunks of white showing. Get the whole thing covered and the next minute you can relate it a lot quicker. So I like to cover it as fast as I can. Or I'll just stand back and make sure I got everything right, and then we'll get into it. Okay, so we'll get white, titanium white, mix it with, we're going to need plenty of white, look at that beautiful stuff. Mix it with magentas, use all these darks. I'm trying to create a fairly neutral, I want a fairly neutral value because it's going to be a coastal haze. There's very much a haze on that day. It was quite large surf coming in that day, and it was all breaking up, creating a beautiful coastal haze. Bit of burnt sienna and magenta are the opposite on the colour wheel to help grey that blue off. Look at that beautiful stuff. And that's a fairly neutral tone. Just trying to get that. Right, see what we've got. It's quite dark. We could go that. I'll start off that dark and then I'll lighten it if I need to. It's easier to go too dark and lighten it off if you have to over the top. But if you start off a little bit light and you think, oh, that sky's a bit light, and you try and darken it wet on wet, you can get yourself in all kind of muddy mess. It just seems a lot easier to start off too dark and then correct the other way if you have to go slightly lighter later. That seems to be going all right. And the darker sky will help create more drama for the foreground, and the sunlit areas. This is going to be beautifully lit up here. By having a dark sky, you'll really make the land pop against it. So there's your beautiful salt haze. Nice. Right, that's good. Let's go up the next level. White. We're getting more into the true colours now of the sky rather than the haze, so we'll go blue. We're going to go a bit of yellow ochre, not too much. A bit more white. Maybe burnt sienna instead of yellow ochre. It's anything that'll send it ever so slightly, not too much, ever so slightly green. Let's just have a look. Well, for a start we'll mix it a bit more so we don't get those dark blue blobs coming through. Let's have a look. A bit more white. That's good because I needed a bit more paint anyway. I felt like I was being a little bit stingy, so by lightening the value with white, it's going to go a bit further here. Okay, stick that on. They're jumping against each other at the moment, but when I mix the two together with the knife in a minute, they'll help blend each other together and make each one not quite so contrastingly different. Now, I don't want too much of that, I don't reckon. I might go up the next layer already. Let's do it. Adds a bit more blue. Phthalo blue is a strong colour. Just add a tiny bit of blue and boom, changes the whole thing. Mix, 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 mix. Always plenty to do on one of these big paintings. Let's get a bit more mixture going. That's it. Yep. Get that on there. Whoa. Hang on. I just realised I've got to get underneath and pin this easel down. The wheels are rolling around as soon as I push on it. I've got to fix that to the ground so I can push on it harder without them moving like I just did then. Alright, that's going alright. Just holding on to the easel for now so it doesn't get away from me. A bit more. What are we doing here? Come down, go across. Alright, let me have a look. Right, well I've just pinned it down there so we're not going to roll away now. So we'll go for more white, we'll go up a layer, more blue, darker value, but a little bit more red as well. In the form of magenta, you could use any sort of red like the alizarin crimson, would be a nice red to use. But I just like magenta, it's a beautiful colour. So I'm going to go with that. A little bit more blue to darken it. Let's just see what we've got so far. Twang more white to lighten the value. There we go, look at that. Lovely stuff. Yeah, that's going on. Slide all that on. I'm going to try and keep out of the way of the camera too if I can, which is always a bit of fun. Painting the big picture. Oh, there's plenty of movement here. Go there and there, that's better. Painting the big picture, but at the same time trying to stay out of the way so you guys can actually see what's going on. That's nice. Let's go up a layer. White, blue, magenta. It's going to be slightly darker, so slightly less white, slightly more blue, slightly more magenta. That's going on lovely. Yep. Let's keep that going. Oh, we've got a bit of white there, don't know what happened there. Mix it a bit more thoroughly. Get it up into the corner. I might get the brush out as well. The knife's great for applying tons of paint, but the brush is absolutely fantastic for softening. You can soften with the knife too, but it just takes a little bit longer and it's not quite as soft. I just find that with the palette knife it's good to have contrast just in any sort of painting, and the contrast can be really smooth against really hard and chunky. So you can have big chunky palette knife marks, but at the same time you can also have lovely soft ones which really complement each other, hard and soft. There we go, that's happening, it's all starting to come together. Okay. I'll just come in with the knife now and just bring a few of these values together. Like I said, I'll get a brush onto it in a minute. What was that? Just pull this down so it's not staring at it too much. They become a little bit more connected with each other. That's nice. I'll just get a paper towel, wipe that knife clean. Just bring that one up a little. Up to there like that. That's good. And now bring this one up to this. It's all coming along. Always plenty of work to do on such a big painting, so try and move as quickly as I can. There we go. Right, we'll do that. Just going to put a bit of blue in now. Where are we? Bit of a reflection of the wet sand happening. Like so. That'll be about there. Where's that going to be? A little bit darker by introducing some of that stuff on the edge. Yep. A little bit over here. A little bit there. Just feeling my way at the moment. Okay. Maybe a bit there. All right. All right, I reckon the biggest difference now is to get this all covered here, so let's do that. We'll get some yellow ochre. What are we going to do? Just here, I guess. Yellow ochre, burnt sienna, white, big, juicy, lovely colour. Let me just see what we've got here. Start off with that, put that on. Just move it on like so. Going to go through tons of paint as usual, I can see it now. Just feel my way around here. going to be alright. Let's go for a bit more burnt sienna, a bit more yellow ochre, a bit more white. It's going to be a little bit more burnt sienna dominant now. A little bit less the yellow ochre. Bit of a blues thrown in one here because there's plenty of sky blues. It's going all right. Let's rub it on. Being a bit stingy here, I'm going to have to get some more paint. More burnt sienna, more yellow ochre, more white. Mix up a brute. Lovely stuff. Stick that in there. It's going on absolutely beautifully. Of course, I'm over here. There we go. Hopefully I'm out of the way. Right up to the edge. Look at that, that's lovely, going on nicely. I can go through there, that's good stuff. That was a good move, that one. Yellow ochre and white. Yellow ochre and white. Yellow ochre, white. Just trying to get a bit of a lighter value right here. Good. Let's just keep going. I'll go for some magenta now, just changing tack a little bit. Burnt sienna, magenta. There's plenty of magenta there. That's alright, I need plenty of paint, so I'll just keep adding other colours till I get it to the right thing. A little bit of that blue thrown in to knock it back a bit. Kind of where you get the mixture of the reflection of the blue sky and the sand, and then you got the sand colour here. Somewhere in the middle, kind of mixes a bit together, so it goes a little bit purpley like that. And put it in, you can back it off if you've done too much. Let's just stick it in for now. Look at that, look at the way that goes on. That's what's good about the knife, isn't it? Just trail it on. Good stuff. Yep, trail it on. I'll run out of paint again. Burnt sienna and white. Yellow ochre. Bit more magenta. Yeah, you've got to learn to mix colours quickly, because when you're working on site, which I love to do as you know, you've got to be able to match the colour quickly, but even when you're in the studio painting quickly, you don't want to fluff around too long trying to match colours, so learning how to get the right colour from the start quickly is a good thing. Comes highly recommended. If you can match any colour quickly, well, you've halfway won the battle. And when I mean colour, I don't just mean the colour, I mean the colour and the tonal value. So how light to dark it is. There we go, that's going on nice. Okay, now it's going to change a bit. I'm going to get a bit of reflection from that headland in there now, so I'll stand back, have a look, see what I think. Alright, let's mix up those. It's going to be beautiful high-key winter grasses. Well, it's actually the start of spring now, so it's just the end of winter. Let's just go for a little bit of yellow ochre. Oh, sorry, chrome yellow, which is a really high-key colour. It's mixing nicely with that sky blue, as you can see. You've got to be real careful with greens. They can dominate the painting. You just got to be careful. I'm just adding a bit of white. Let's see what I've got here. We should maybe make it a little bit more olive. Put a bit of yellow ochre in, just to back it off so it's not too crazy winter green. Let's just have a look, put that in, not quite touching that blue yet. Like so. I'll just go a little bit lighter. bit more white, bit more yellow ochre, a little bit more yellow. There is actually a nice touch through here, that's it. Just a little bit down there. All those blues in there, there's a few shadows kicking around. Oh, this thing, let's stick that back there like that. There we go. Right, pull that across. Yellow, white, more yellow, bit of yellow ochre. Just high key, right? Get the tiniest bit of iridium green. Bit more white. Run out of the yellow. Yellow green. Just want that to be nice and high key in here. So a little bit kicking around here and there. Let me just have a look. All coming along, there's plenty to do, let's just keep on moving around. Get some phthalo blue, bit of magenta, bit of iridium green. I'm just trying to get a fairly neutral colour here, lighten it with a bit of that. I'll use burnt sienna maybe to knock it back. I don't want it to be too strong in chromatic saturation. You can even use a bit of that red, anything just to send it off to a little bit more of a grey because it's a distance. Don't want it to be too dominating. Let me just see what we got. It's pretty dark. Sometimes it's good to have a nice dark horizon. It really makes the rest of the painting pop. Stick that in there. Let's get a bit of that chrome yellow, throw it in there. I want it to be a high key colour. That sky blue to make it a green. Let's just have a look what we got here. Yeah, that's a nice colour. That's good stuff. We want that. It's going to come up to there, right up in here. Yep, nice. Down here, lead it through here. That's a beautiful colour. Lighten a little area here with a real high key yellow, a tiny bit of iridium green. Really get it to pop. A bit more yellow and white. I want this area, where are we? This area here to be real light. Just put that in. Try not to touch the black too much at the moment, it'll get all mucky patch. Well, let's get that white covered though. Put that in there. It's coming along. Getting along, let's keep on moving. Plenty of stuff to do. White. Tiny bit of yellow ochre with that white. Just creating a really light value here. Bit more yellow ochre. More yellow. So many subtle colours that have got to be painted in here. Wet sand colours. Start to bring it up a little. It's going to have a bit more blue in here. That blue, I'm just going to make that slightly more magenta blue because when it mixes with the sand colour, it's weakening the blue off and sending it a lot of green. So if I make it a little bit more magenta. Yep. Bring those together. There we go, bring them together, blend, 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 blend. Notice some beautiful yellow ochres. There's so many different subtle variances here. That. Mix it up here too, slowly getting rid of all those whites. Alright, well it's really starting to come together now. Very happy with what's going on. So this foreground, because it's such a large area of wet sand, it could easily be quite boring. There could be not much going on. So the idea is to put subtle variants everywhere, little subtle tonal changes to create a lot of things going on. Little marks with the big knife, complementary colours, got little bits of cool, little bits of warm, all juttering around, sculpturing the light and shadow around that rock. Just subtly playing the ripples. You've got the beautiful, just here, as the water has rushed up and then the wave has dragged back, it's pulling the water back out to sea, and you're getting these lovely little waves standing up as the water drags back. And that's a beautiful way to add warm values against the cool sky reflection. Nice chunks here, bits of drier sand as the water's pulling down. As the sand's a bit higher in amongst the rocks, it dries out. Just that touch very quickly, because it's the water. Sand absorbs the water very quickly, so it starts to dry out and become a lighter value. Here it's still very wet. On the whole, like what's going on. What I might do now is start refining that surf a little bit more, but this headland, I'll just pick it out a bit more and start putting a bit more refinement. At the moment it's just a few big chunky marks. It needs a bit more subtlety and a few higher key marks to draw your eye into it. On the whole, she's coming together though. Right, high key greens, let's get into it. Go for some of this beautiful chrome yellow. Tiniest bit of viridian green. That viridian green will dominate and take over very easily, so we've got to be very careful there. A bit of white to lighten it, so it's super high key. That's it. Pull it down. Bring that in with that. It's all coming along, just little marks here and there, building up a few rocks in here. Just get some cad orange, because what we've got here, cad orange and white, it's got some beautiful high key orange lichen growing on these rocks, these round granite boulders. And so just a little bit placed on, not too much, I don't want to go too crazy, but just a little, and I might actually key some of it off so it's not so obvious. Because it is around, it's all over the place, but it's not. It's like so. Let's just have a look. We don't want to overdo it, we just want it as an accent to pull your eye in. Some stuff here, there's a bit of surf action here. Let's pull the wave down. Breaking wave. A bit more white. Let's get some little clean white knife on edge highlights licking around. Like so. Keep on moving around the picture and don't muck around. Let's have a look. There's so much to do that you just keep working around, keep getting back, having a look. A little bit of yellow ochre and white. Mess a bit in here. Plenty of random marks to add interest. Light and shadow and whatever else. That's good. Some really clean lines here. As the, like I said, as the water's drawing back, it's creating little ripples, bits of light. Just get a little bit of blue, because it's wet sand and whatever else, and just create a little bit of shadow, because that blue, that wet sand, the wet sand is really reflecting the sky, so when you get a shadow you get a real cool colour in it. All right, well, I'm really happy with what's going on here. I just reckon I should leave it alone now, because what I've got is a big impression. It really is giving the feeling of beautiful wet sand, reflections, surf, islands, blue sunny day, a whole lot. Nice high key headland here with the high key reflection in there. Really great stuff. At the same time, really broad and fresh and spontaneous the way I've applied the paint. Now, I could keep on going, as you know, make it more realistic, but I'd lose all that energy of trying to block it in really quick. Because I'm trying to get the painting all done for you guys as quick as I can, it's a bit like painting plein air. There's this urgent, random energy of just trying to get it all in at once. And there's something beautiful about that. It's like perfect imperfection. I've said that before, and I really think that that is a great way to describe it. You're trying to get everything done perfectly, but because of the speed, there's a certain imperfection in it, which is kind of charming in some way. And fresh. It's a bit like your signature, your handwriting. When you write quickly and fluently, there's a certain energy you get into the writing itself, and it's very similar. It's not static. It's got movement and flow. And when I was down there on the day, it was absolutely pumping like that. The big surf would come in, wet this whole area, and then drag back out, and you get all these subtle, beautiful, warm and cool reflections. The drag mark as the water came back in and made these ripples as it sucks out. The whole lot. Had a great time down there. why don't we get the camera off now, come buzzing right in, you guys can have a look and see what you think. All right, thank you.